Welcome back to the System Read. Today we're dissecting a framework that I genuinely believe is a firmware upgrade for the modern human brain. We're talking about Make Time by Knapp and John Zeratsky. Sarah, I've spent the last week redesigning my defaults, and I feel like I've finally stepped off the hamster wheel.
Here we go. Marcus, I read the same book, and while you see a firmware upgrade, I see a survival guide for a burning building. We're so obsessed with reclaiming attention that we've forgotten why we lost it in the first place. It wasn't an accident. It was a heist.
A heist? That's a bit dramatic. The authors, who, let's remember, were designers at Google and YouTube, are very clear. We are caught between two massive competing forces. The busy bandwagon, which is this cultural default of overflowing inboxes and back-to-back meetings, and the infinity pools, those apps like Instagram or TikTok with endlessly replenishing content. It's not a conspiracy. It's just the default setting of the 21st century.
But that's exactly my point. Knapp and Zeratsky call it the default, but for millions of people, especially those in the gig economy or parents dealing with a work-from-home nightmare, those defaults aren't optional. When your boss expects a Slack reply in 3 minutes, you can't just reset your defaults. This busy bandwagon isn't a parade we chose to join. It's a treadmill we're forced to run on just to keep our health insurance.
But that is exactly why the highlight concept is so revolutionary. It's not about doing more. It's about choosing one single focal point each day. One thing that matters to you, not your boss or your notifications. It's that sweet spot between a tiny to-do list item and a massive long-term goal. 60 to 90 minutes of intentionality.
Oh, 60 to 90 minutes? In this economy? Marcus, that sounds lovely if you're a time dork with a 6-figure salary and a door you can shut. But what about the person with ADHD struggling with executive dysfunction, or the assistant who has to live in their inbox? The book suggests bulldozing your calendar, or flaking it till you make it. That's advice that gets people fired. It shifts the burden of a broken, hyper-capitalist work culture onto the individual's willpower.
Actually, the authors explicitly say willpower isn't the way out. They admit they helped build the very infinity pools that hook us. They're not telling you to try harder. They're telling you to build a fortress around your attention. If you don't choose a highlight, you spend the whole day reacting to other people's priorities. You end the day looking back and wondering, what did I actually do today? Do you really want to live in that blur forever?
No, I don't. The missing months story in the book, where Jay-Z realized he couldn't remember the last 2 months of his life, that hit me hard. But my skepticism comes from the emotional cost. Marcus, we are already exhausted, and now the system tells us we need to spend our precious remaining energy designing our lives? Knapp talks about a spreadsheet he kept for a year to track if he liked being around people. That's not a life. That's an audit.
It's an experiment. That's the beauty of it. Pick, test, repeat. It's about treating your routine like a product you're beta testing. Look at the laser tactics for fighting distraction. Have you tried a distraction-free phone?
You mean the smartphone turned brick? Marcus, I tried it. I deleted my mobile browser, email, and social media apps. I felt like I was living in 1994. Sure, I was focused, but I also couldn't coordinate a dinner with my friends because I was off the grid. There's a social tax to this kind of optimization that Knapp and Zeratsky gloss over.
But the social tax is the price of entry for sanity. We touch our phones over 2,600 times a day. Our attention has become a business model for AI assistants and social media algorithms. If you don't build barriers, if you don't nix notifications or clear your home screen, you're just a pawn in someone else's dopamine game. The laser mode is about being the boss of your phone, not its servant.
Okay, but let's talk about energy beats time. The book says to act like a caveman to build energy. Marcus, I'm an analyst, not a hunter-gatherer. They suggest pounding the pavement and eating like a hunter-gatherer. In a world of food deserts and sedentary office jobs, telling someone to sleep in a cave or fake the sunset feels like another layer of productivity guilt.
Is it guilt or is it biology? Our species hasn't evolved as fast as our technology. We're still wired for movement and face-to-face connection. When you're exhausted, you can't make good decisions. You default to infinity pools because your battery is at zero. Tactics like the 7-minute workout or a caffeine nap aren't about becoming an athlete. They're about charging your battery so you actually have the strength to say no to the busy bandwagon.
A caffeine nap. Drink coffee, sleep for 15 minutes, and wake up as the caffeine hits your system. It's ingenious, Marcus, but it's also terrifying. It's the ultimate life hack. We are literally hacking our adenosine receptors so we can keep making time for more work. It feels like we're trying to optimize the human animal until it's just a high-performing organic machine.
No, it's about recovery. The book advocates for real breaks, no screens, just looking out a window or taking a walk. It's the opposite of burnout culture. It's admitting that productivity in the traditional sense is a trap. Knapp and Zeratsky say the faster you run on the hamster wheel, the faster it spins. Make time is about getting off the wheel so you can spend time on what makes you come alive.
What makes you come alive? That's a high bar, Marcus. Most people are just trying to survive the workday. They talk about choosing your highlight based on joy, satisfaction, or urgency. But for someone with a high-stress job or a disability, joy isn't a daily option. The book feels like it was written for people who already have a lot of agency. What about the people who don't control their calendars?
They address that. Even if you don't control your schedule, you can control your attention. It's about the small shifts. The burner list, keeping only one project on the front burner. The might-do list, to avoid the to-do list treadmill. These are tactical tools for anyone. You don't have to be a CEO to batch the little stuff or skip the morning check-in.
Skip the morning check-in. I tried that. My AI assistant nearly had a heart attack because I didn't acknowledge the breaking news alerts. But I will admit, Marcus, there is something addictive about the reflect step. Using the scientific method to measure your day, taking notes on what brought you gratitude.
Exactly! It's not about perfection. Knapp and Zeratsky admit they fall off the wagon all the time. It's about the data points. Every mistake is just a data point. That mindset shift from "I failed at being productive" to "this experiment didn't work, let's try a different tactic." That is the cure for productivity guilt.
Or it's just another form of self-surveillance. We're already being tracked by our smartphones, our productivity apps, and our corporate keystroke loggers. Now we're supposed to track ourselves too? Today's focus, 6 out of 10. Today's energy, 4 out of 10. It feels like we're turning our souls into a dashboard.
Sarah, the dashboard already exists. It's being run by the tech companies that want your time. If you aren't the one measuring your life, they will do it for you. And their goal isn't your satisfaction. It's your time on device. Make time is about taking the steering wheel back. It's about wholeheartedness, completely committing to the moment, whether that's a board meeting or playing Mario Kart with your kids.
Mario Kart. They really did include that as a valid highlight, didn't they? I suppose there is something human in that. It's not make time for your side hustle. It's make time for what matters.
Precisely! Jay-Z used these tactics to make time for sailing. Knapp used them to write an adventure novel. It's not about accomplishing more, it's about living more intentionally. It's about making sure your someday project starts today.
Okay, I'll give you this. The infinity pool metaphor is a perfect description of why I feel so drained. The pull to refresh mechanism is the cigarette of our generation. And I do love the idea of setting your own defaults instead of letting Apple or Google decide how I spend my morning.
Then let's look at the final philosophical clash. Is this system helping us escape the digital chaos, or just help us survive within it? I think it's both. It's a firmware upgrade because it acknowledges that the world is chaotic and distracting, and it gives us the tools to be more than just reactive cogs.
And I think it's a survival guide for a world that shouldn't be this hard to live in. If we have to fake the sunset and bulldoze our calendars just to have 90 minutes of peace, then the system we're living in is fundamentally broken. Knapp and Zeratsky are time dorks, trying to fix a societal crisis with personal habits.
Maybe, but until the societal crisis is fixed, I'd rather have the habits. I'd rather shut the door and play a laser soundtrack than let the busy bandwagon trample over my life.
Play a laser soundtrack. Marcus, if I catch you listening to Michael Jackson's Billie Jean while you're exploding your highlights, I am going to lose it.
Hey, it's a cue for the habit loop. It triggers my brain to enter laser mode. Don't knock it until you've tested it. That's the beauty of the system read. We test, we fail, we iterate.
I suppose that's true. Even a cynical analyst can appreciate a clean slate. Each day is a clean slate. There's a certain grace in that.
There really is. So to our listeners, what's going to be the highlight of your day? Are you going to stay out of infinity pools or let them devour your time? The choice, the default, is finally yours.
Just don't forget to put on your own oxygen mask first, Marcus. Because if you optimize yourself into a collapse, you're not much use to anyone.
Duly noted, Sarah. Duly noted. Next week, we're looking at deep work. But for now, I've got a highlight to finish.
And I've got a TV to put in the corner. Or maybe I'll just ditch it for a projector.
See? The system is working already.
Don't get ahead of yourself. It's just an experiment.
Exactly. A sample size of 1. Let's see where it leads.
Thank you for listening to this discussion on the System Read podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like button and subscribe to ensure you don't miss our upcoming deep dives.